Violent floods, powerful tremors, and sudden real-life accidents turned ordinary places into scenes filled with dust, impact, and chaos. Within seconds, these are harsh moments of nature and unpredictable incidents captured by cameras in real life. Flood water rushed across the yard so quickly that the woman barely had time to react, leaving the feeling that nature can suddenly change direction without warning. Within moments, the flash flood buried the area beneath muddy water and debris, while the roaring sound echoed through the violent current.
Dito. Gubaw na, guba. Nagbang ang crane. Ang crane ba? Ang crane.
Taupial.
The entire street swayed under violent shaking as the ground below gave the unsettling feeling that it was shifting on its own. The flood swept through the neighborhood at terrifying speed, almost seeming to erase the entire roadway, though early evacuations helped reduce the chaos. Looking at what remained afterward, they probably only wished that day had ended a little earlier than usual.
¿Esa es la casa de mi tía?
Seeing shattered glass spread across the scene made many people realize the accident could have been far worse if they had been standing only slightly closer. The man probably never imagined that his instinctive hug would become the luckiest decision he could have made in such an unexpected moment.
And we're off. This is a crazy one. This power trowel got away from these cowboys. He's going to throw a pallet on it. Look at that thing just jacking the concrete. That guy just wrangled it up with a rope. He's going to lasso it. I think he's got it. Whack! It just whacks him. He almost got it. There they go.
Once heavy loads are lifted high into the air, the stability of the entire system can sometimes depend on connections that seem incredibly small. Apparently, humans are not the only ones obsessed with technology.
In the building. A fire has been reported in the building. Please walk into the elevator.
The violent crash into the tree happened only steps away from the woman, but the way she remained calm afterward caught many people's attention. Would you actually want to experience this kind of natural car wash for yourself? The woman was preparing meat at the counter when an out-of-control motorcycle suddenly burst into the scene, turning everything upside down in just moments.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
The icy roads in Karabuk caused the bus to spin sideways on the slope, as though the entire street were drifting beneath an invisible layer of winter ice. The tsunami arrived only minutes after the first tremor, while the car hurried backward with the feeling that the entire coastline was slowly being swallowed by water. The peaceful street scene vanished instantly when the gas line exploded, creating the feeling that the ground itself had ripped open in the middle of the crowd.
away.
कमरा साफ हो गया बिल्कुल दोबारा मेरा कमरा सब साफ हो गया
It looks like this unexpected visitor was extremely eager for its turn at the car wash. Strong seismic waves made the entire street shake like a massive suspension bridge, where everything around seemed to sway at once. The pickup truck was almost pulled straight underground when the sinkhole suddenly widened beneath the yard, leaving behind a dark void among broken earth and debris. The vehicle suddenly slid sideways while moving, bringing the sound of screeching tires and the feeling of complete loss of control across the roadway. Watching thick layers of snow slide off the roof almost simultaneously gave the scene a strangely satisfying and relaxing feeling.
Pelan-pelan Pak Sopir. Pelan-pelan Pak Sopir. Astagfirullahaladzim.
The man had barely closed his car door before the wind sent the umbrella flying directly toward him, as if the timing had been perfectly planned. Suitcases ended up scattered across the roadway after the bus compartment suddenly burst open. An entire neighborhood in California shook when a gas leak explosion tore through a house, sending shockwaves and debris flying everywhere. The wing passing dangerously close to the cockpit showed just how precise coordination on the runway must be between flight crews. The powerful jet blast from the aircraft shook the entire area behind it, where even standing a few steps too close can become extremely dangerous. Passengers frantically signaled the approaching train, After the woman fell onto the tracks, a moment showing how even a few seconds of distraction can become extremely dangerous. The scene on Manang Road became increasingly tense as the vehicle slowly crossed the raging water, where even the smallest mistake could change everything. Prolonged flooding at Bandra Kurla complex caused the construction site to lose stability and collapse, almost as if the entire area was slowly being dragged away by the water.
तारे ऊपर तारे
The sight of the Citroën Amy tipping sideways in the middle of a crowded street showed how speed and cornering angles only need to be slightly off before everything slips out of control. The violent flood transformed the river into a crushing current where the final bridge support eventually lost stability and collapsed into the muddy water below. The Land Rover falling into the hole after a confusing reverse maneuver showed how even familiar places still demand complete attention. The electric vehicle crashing into the illegally parked truck proved how even one poorly chosen stop can completely change a situation on the road. The bear appeared outside the house and casually dragged the trash bin away, making it feel like it had been studying the neighborhood pickup schedule for weeks.
Window. Oh, he's found.
He got his order.
Oh, he's found.
He got his order.
Babe. Curtis, just stand there.
The scene in Gatlinburg gave many people the feeling that the line between a tourist town and raw nature disappeared in an instant.
Just stand there, hon.
The atmosphere at the New Zealand Shearing Championships became even more memorable when the sheep herding created a scene that felt both traditional and full of energy. A moment that makes slowing down at intersections feel far more important than many people realize. Just a few seconds later, what do you think could have happened next? The cyclist narrowly avoided being hit by the train after trying to cross too late, showing how difficult it can be to judge the speed of an oncoming train. Flooding in Ellicott City transformed the street into a roaring river that swept cars away like toys through muddy water. The riverside scene became increasingly tense when the bus could no longer escape the strong current after entering the dangerous flooded roadway. Camera footage captured lightning crashing down near the neighborhood, making it feel as though nature had launched a direct strike right outside someone's front door. The tree outside the house lit up in an instant when lightning tore downward with enough force to seem like it split the quiet air apart.
Dito. Gubaw na, guba. Nagbang ang guwan. Wala man ta naka-open na yung video. Naka-open ka video? Oo, naka-open ka video.
The storm in southwestern France brought unusually large hailstones that pounded the house so hard it shook beneath the repeated impacts from above. The storm in New Mexico turned the sky into a barrage of falling ice as massive hailstones crashed down and shattered vehicle windows. The woman had not even stepped inside the house before a violent explosion shook the entire building like a giant blow from the sky. Ash sparks and debris exploded into the air after the sudden blast from the bonfire, making the yard feel as though a wave of heat had swept across it. Hurricane Irma made the coastline of Key West look as though the ocean was slowly swallowing it whole while huge waves knocked people down in the roaring wind. The once solid glass wall quickly shattered beneath the crushing pressure of floodwater, as if the building itself were being pushed backward by nature. The wedding scene along the coast of Hawaii became unforgettable, as waves repeatedly crashed ashore, almost seeming unwilling to miss the celebration.
Oh! Holy! Oh my God! Oh, what?
The violent impact from the loose wheels severely damaged the front of the vehicle, a moment that made vehicle maintenance suddenly feel a lot more important.
Ёбаный в рот! Да как он заглушит, блядь?
Quick reflexes helped avoid what could have become a very serious collision. A situation showing how focus behind the wheel becomes even more important in crowded areas.
Yeah.
The moment the rally car recovered after the massive slide showed how controlling a vehicle at high speed takes both experience and composure. The winter highway crash reminded many drivers that even one aggressive steering movement can send a car sliding much farther than expected.
Еблан, блядь, ненормальный!
This is the part of the ashram where Ganga...
The entire monastery disappeared beneath muddy floodwater after the major storm, making it feel as though the area had endured days of relentless disaster.
We've seen that they are all washed up across this ashram. And there is every likelihood for us to stay over here.
Hurricane Fiona transformed the river in Utuado into what looked like a giant machine, crushing everything in its path, including the familiar bridge crossing it.
Everybody at the entrance, move!
Yo!
Let's go,
The thin mist from each breath made the stag standing in the winter cold look like an old warrior, silently watching over the frozen forest. The conditions during Typhoon Dujuan made many people feel as though an enormous, invisible force was dragging both people and debris through the air together. The lightning bolt appeared across the clear sky in Tampa, like a sudden crack of light opening overhead before smashing violently into the tree below. Wind and snow blasted across the Iowa interstate so intensely that several vehicles nearly disappeared inside the freezing whiteout. The scene outside this market changed instantly when a huge mass of snow slid from the roof, like the entire winter season collapsing into the parking lot. The residential street fell silent when a massive slab of ice crashed from the rooftop and crushed the two vehicles below. The blizzard in Tahoe made the air feel thick with snow and wind, as if the entire mountain range had disappeared beneath a giant white curtain. The structure shook violently before collapsing like a sandcastle swept away by an invisible force rising from beneath the earth. The powerful quake left parts of Vanuatu looking as though the region had been struck by a massive impact rising from deep underground. Whale watchers in California could barely look away from the water as dolphins repeatedly raced through the waves, creating massive splashes across the surface. The kayak drifted peacefully until an otter suddenly climbed aboard, turning the entire moment into something both hilarious and unforgettable. Soft light reflecting through thousands of butterfly wings made the small pathway look like something created specifically for a movie scene.
Front window gone. Side window, back window gone. I'm just behind a truck.
A severe storm moved across Canberra with relentless hail, creating the feeling that the sky was unloading endless chunks of ice onto the city. The entire town of Pampa looked as though it had been hit by an ice storm as heavy hailstones slammed down with unbelievable force. The moment the towing vehicle nearly lost all directional control showed that hauling heavy loads requires far more experience than many people realize. A massive sheet of ice fell from the rooftop directly onto the passing SUV, proving that winter dangers do not only come from slippery roads. The lane change on the frozen roadway quickly turned into a crash, showing how critical both traction and distance become at high speeds. The scene made many viewers feel as though the patio umbrella had suddenly decided to turn itself into a wind-powered delivery vehicle. The scene carried the exact feeling of a workday, where just a slight shift in balance can change the entire atmosphere in an instant. The parking lot stayed calm until a piece of glass suddenly came crashing down, turning a few ordinary steps into a moment nobody there would forget. The ball landed with such unbelievable precision that viewers almost felt a shot that accurate should not have happened in a moment like that. The flooding caused many streets and cons to almost disappear beneath the water, creating the feeling that nature was slowly swallowing the city piece by piece.
Itong kotse ito, mabingi na. Pero bumaba na siya.
Oh my God! Baha! Super baha!
The house shattered apart in the middle of the collapsing landslide, almost as if the earth itself had pulled everything back beneath the hillside.
Oh my God. Look at Kent's light. Look at this tree going. Where is it going? Oh my God.
The storm transformed city streets into scenes that looked as though the air itself was stretching and tearing everything apart with violent wind.
Oh my God. Look at Kent's light. Look at this tree going. Where is it?
The area near the London train station turned tense when the massive explosion sent shockwaves through the air like a heavy strike in the center of the city. The ruptured gas pipeline unleashed a violent explosion in the middle of the street, as though pressure beneath the ground had erupted in an instant. The gas explosion in Mexico City shortly after the earthquake left the neighborhood filled with dust and a lingering sense of unease. Chunks of brick rained down from the medieval tower in Rome when part of the structure unexpectedly collapsed, echoing through the narrow historic streets. The quiet mountain road suddenly looked as though nature had dropped a giant block of concrete straight from the sky onto the pavement below. Massive rocks crashed onto the roadway with terrifying force, as if the entire mountainside were sliding downward directly toward the passing vehicle. Waves slammed into the coast of Samar like repeated blows from the ocean itself, shaking the area beneath layers of white water.
Rồi vào lên đi đâu
A giant wall of snow rushed down the Alps with silent but crushing force, covering the resort like an enormous white blanket.
Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Damn! Damn! Woo! Damn! Damn! Woo!
The dramatic avalanche in Argentina turned the mountainside into a massive white torrent, crashing downward with crushing force through the freezing landscape. The steel framework and roof structure at the airport in Jiangxi collapsed within moments, leaving the area buried in dust and crashing debris. The controlled demolition brought the entire coal plant down almost simultaneously, transforming the once familiar industrial site into an enormous empty space. That liquor store nearly ended up with a very expensive cleanup, but thankfully the employees' reflexes move faster than gravity. The two girls had barely entered the building before a mouse appeared and instantly turned the entire area into a place where nobody remembered why they came in the first place. Everything was perfectly fine until the glass suddenly decided to remind everyone it still existed. If that happened to you, would you still dare to park there afterward? The police car drove through a massive swarm of termites, so dense it looked like a moving storm sweeping across the road. Do you know what kind of creature this is? Share your answer so everyone else can find out too. The sight of thousands of fish gathering inside the narrow stream felt like another reminder that nature always finds ways to create scenes beyond imagination. The quiet scene in Cherokee suddenly became impossible to ignore when the bear balanced itself on the balcony like part of a natural performance.
Call my mom. I can hear him. He's trying to open the door. Yeah. God, he's smart.
The bear wandering around outside the cabin made the peaceful forest retreat suddenly feel like a real-life survival comedy movie.
Yeah, he's been here about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes.
The entire area instantly felt more alive once the gibbon started swinging overhead, with incredibly smooth and agile movements. What seemed like a relatively minor collision from the ship caused severe damage to the bridge, proving that even small errors on waterways can lead to major consequences. The cruise ship slammed hard into the pier during strong winds, where even a slight shift in weather conditions can quickly throw off control.
Our line just broke?
Yeah.
I'll go grab. Do we have another one?
The moment the car slid uncontrollably into the large tree became a scene that reminds many winter drivers why speed matters even more on icy roads. The passengers screamed as the car slid across the frozen roadway, a moment that reminded many winter drivers how important speed control and safe distance really are. Dashcam footage captured a power cable crashing onto the hood of the car behind a moment that made many drivers more cautious around trucks and large vehicles. The waitress probably thought she only had to deal with one cat, but the restaurant apparently decided to run a buy one get one free special that day. The son pulled the chair away at exactly the wrong moment, creating a memory the father will probably remember far longer than the meal itself. The woman was only a few steps from her front door when the ice hidden beneath the snow suddenly took control and sent her face first onto the frozen ground. The sound of floodwater and crashing tree trunks made the entire river resemble a giant machine dragging everything downstream. Floodwater suddenly intensified along the mountainside and carried rocks and debris downhill, creating a scene filled with pressure and chaos from nature. Powerful winds in Manatee County shook homes beneath the constant roar of the storm, almost as if the entire neighborhood was being dragged away.
Jeremy, 241's returning.
Oh, it is. Look at it coming this way.
A massive wave suddenly surged across the yard with overwhelming force, leaving the feeling that the ocean had stepped directly onto land.
Now it's at the level. Look at that, dude. This is going to hit these cars. It's gonna hit us, dude. It's gonna hit us. Oh no!
The lightning bolt tore through the night sky with the force of the entire atmosphere, delivering one crushing strike to the ground below.
Их этот трясет коагулятор. Смотри, он...
Doctors continued performing surgery even as the earthquake shook the operating room like a ship caught in rough seas. The moment the pedestrian hurried across the street in Odessa happened just seconds before the building behind him collapsed, leaving many viewers stunned.
Here it goes.
The entire hillside in Ireland seemed to shift on its own after the peat landslide, silently dragging trees and earth downhill in a heavy stillness. Do you think this bridge can actually survive a flood like this? The muddy floodwater tore through Rudoso with overwhelming force, leaving the feeling that the land had barely recovered from wildfire damage before being ripped apart once again. Two people might be fun, three might feel crowded, but apparently owls see things very differently. The moment left many viewers confused for a few seconds because the animal somehow managed to completely hide its face in the strangest way possible. The entire school of fish moved in such perfect sync that the water looked like a living painting, constantly shifting with every motion.
Feet. Und solange dieses Geräusch kommt, dann ist es perfekt.
Watching the great white shark launch near the kayak made it feel like the paddler had accidentally bought a front row seat to the ocean. If any moment caught your attention the most, share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to keep exploring more unforgettable moments captured around the world.